You bang on time for Morning Prime here on KTN News. It is the 29th of August 2023 and I'm glad that you've chosen this channel to inform you today. It's Tuesday. Every Tuesday you have Siasa Affairs to come where we apprise you on the latest as far as the politics is concerned, just gauging the tone and tenor of scenario and landscape here in the country. A lot that we have to discuss today as well. Remember, Monday was the day that we continue to also keep our eyes peeled on the tour of the president in Western. And today the Senate has a special sitting, and this is all about the bipartisan talk, where also the Senate will seek to make sure that that is predicated on the law or under the law as far as the framework and legislation is concerned. So we continue first looking at that and also a raft of other bills that have come up so far. There is also a new bill that is right now being advanced by the Deputy Majority Leader that seeks to make sure that advocates, it's called the Advocates Bill, that within the East African community, advocates can actually be crossing the borders and also practicing in any country within the East African region, as long as you have the requisite qualifications. Well, we'll be joined this morning by Dan Mazo, who's a senator of Makueni. We'll be joined as well by Owen Baya, who is the Deputy Majority Leader at the National Assembly. We'll be joined by Danson Mungatana, who's a senator of Makueni, and we'll be joined by Farah Malim, Member of Parliament, Dadaab, and also member of the Speaker's panel. You get to drive a show with me as always. You can hit us on Twitter. KTN News is our X. Well, sounds very different from the Twitter handle. That is our X handle. It's at KTN News, at billionaire. Also, you can use that as well to peg your thoughts or fire your questions, and much later in the course of the program, we shall be interrogating that. But let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. We begin with the bold paper. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the bold paper this morning. The Standard. Ruto wades into rise sugar wars. Ruto wades into rise sugar wars. It's all about power play here, as it says. President William Ruto, in vowing to crush sugar cartels, made reference to Jaswant Rai, who was abducted by unknown persons, saying he is a nobody to manipulate the industry. And this story continues on page 6 and 7. DCI sleuths yesterday picked Victoria Commercial Bank CEO associated with Rai for questioning of Mumias lease saga. And President said court cases have to be dropped as they are still stalling investment in the company, vowing to take action on the litigants. And we have also him saying here, quote unquote, this is public property and we will not allow individuals to grab property belonging to the people. That is the story that you want to follow inside the Standard this morning. Is a splash making headline today. And teachers have nothing to smile about in pay deal. It's another story. Whereas the tutors will get between 3 to 10% raise, the same is eroded in new taxation measures. In new salary structure, the raise is between 750 shillings and 5,000 shillings. And this story continues on page 5. 785 shillings. That is the lowest amount some teachers will get in the new salary deal. And that story continues inside the Standard this morning, as I've mentioned on page 5. And of course, they are crying foul of this and decrying this particular state of events as we have it, that the new statutory deductions as well will just swallow up all this salary increment that has been proposed by or has been given by the government. You can follow this story inside the Standard this morning. Let's look at the sidebar there. And fine print in WorldCoin Pact shows risky deal. Fine print in WorldCoin Pact shows risky deal. A case in court has exposed the data breaches many Kenyans are exposed to after they had their eyes scanned for 7,000 shillings. This story is well laid out for you on page 3 of the Standard today. You can read all about it. Did you read the fine prints regarding the contractual agreement that you signed into when you actually went for the scanning of this iris? Those are the things now that might come to bite you, because within that particular fine print as well, they were not really tied to any jurisprudence here in the country. All that can be actually addressed outside if you've got any redress that you're seeking. Those were some of the finer details. And by the way, also we have the PS of Treasury and also the CS appearing today in the Parliamentary Committee regarding WorldCoin to just shed light on it as well. So we shall be looking forward to that as well to see what is the latest development and do we have any rich seam of information coming to hand as far as WorldCoin is concerned. Fine print in WorldCoin Pact shows risky deal is a story that you want to follow on page 3. Compensation, blackouts, fund redress debate. That is all about blackouts, fund redress debate. This is in the Financial Standard. All right, regarding the blackout that we had over the weekend, now people want that to be compensated. You can follow the story. Also remember, every Tuesday you have the Financial Standard coming in handy for you. Telkom Kenya debts threatened to derail deal. That's the story that you want to follow inside the Standard this morning. And all that is tucked away on the financial pages. Let's look at the teaser. Fees shocker for parents in new term. That story continues on page 4. The resumptions of the third-term school calendar begins today. And of course, parents will be digging deeper into their pockets in light of the hard times that we have been subjected to right now. And crossing the borders, Zambia, seizure, cash and fake gold, no one wants. You can read all about it in the world pages of the Standard today. Hope, dance and heartbreak in Budapest. That is a story that is tucked away on page 40, making us proud as well. We have athletes who are jetting back into the country, making us proud on the world map, leading in Africa, number 5 in the world, and congratulatory, of course, notes will be coming their way today. That is the Standard today. This is our looks. The Daily Nation today is splashing the faces of the gallant heroines who led a medal charge to save Kenya, the blushes. They're the ones who are leading right now, and you can see from here, the medal table, Kenya is leading in Africa, followed by Ethiopia, Uganda, Morocco, and Burkina Faso. We have a total of 10 medals, 9 Ethiopia, 2 Uganda, 2 Morocco, and 1 Burkina Faso. Emmanuel Wanyonyi in 800 meters. He had Ghana 3 silvers. We had also Beatrice Chepkoech, 3,000 meters, that is steeplechase. We have 3 silvers there. We have also 3 gold, 1,500 meters and 5,000 meters and 800 meters there. That is Faith Kipyegon. And also we have the dancing queen there, Mary Murrah, and also Abraham Kipbiwot. He got a gold there, 3,000 meters steeplechase. Faith Cherotich, 3,000 steeplechase as well. He got the gold, bronze, I should say. Beatrice Chebet, 5,000 meters, bronze as well. And Jacob Krop, 5,000 meters as well. You can follow that story inside the sports pages of the Daily Nation on page 338 and 39 today. And the splash is all about salaries, higher salaries for teachers as schools reopen. Higher salaries for teachers as schools reopen. And you can see also a tabulation there of the new deal, basic salary current given on the new that is been proposed, the current maximums, the new maximums as well, and all that is broken down for you according to the job grade there. You can grab a copy of the Daily Nation. Teachers Unions strike pay deal with the employer that will see the lowest paid tutors benefit more, with those teaching in rural areas bagging improved housing allowances. This story continues on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. Ruto issues Mumias order amid Rai abduction puzzle. President Ruto orders all persons currently at Mumias Sugar to vacate and withdraw all court cases. This even as Kabras boss and sugar baron Jaswant Rai remained mum over his kidnap ordeal. This story is tucked away on page 2 of the Daily Nation this morning. Also, you have Healthy Nation coming your way, Mandamano. A silent health crisis unfolds. You can read all about that inside the Healthy Nation Pullout magazine. And also immigration woes. Here's how we plan to fix passport maze. This is what Chelugate is talking about. Urgent counters established. at the Immigration Department to fast-track application for Kenyans who need to leave the country for educational, medical or work-related reasons, says Director General Evelyn Chelugate, and you can follow the story on page 8. That also include them working and on a 24-hour basis, so day and night they will be under the gun, making sure at least that particular sector is flowing seamlessly as far as generation of passports is concerned. Also, KDF recruitment officials promise fairness as military jobs drive starts. Those who turn up without certificates of good conduct will not be turned away this year. In exercise that is expected to attract huge numbers, given that hiring didn't take place last year. The story continues on page 12. And also there was April in Lamu where women were turned away. You can read all about that inside the Daily Nation this morning. The Star is up next, and this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Star. The CS of Education is seeking a 61 billion shillings debt waive to save varsities. This is, it says, according to the flagger here, sinking, including unremitted statutory deductions, bank and SACCO loans, unpaid supplies. Auditor General has previously declared leading universities technically insolvent. And this is what the CS is pleading the legislators to consider waiving the 61 billion shillings debt to bring these universities back to a healthy situation as far as their financial statement is concerned. You can follow the story on page 4 and 5. And here it's how it went down yesterday with the KDF recruitment. Hope distress and KDF nationwide recruitment gets underway, looking at the dental formula and height suitability test, as it's being put here on the caption. An army officer measures a woman's height during the KDF nationwide recruitment at Kasarani, Nairobi yesterday. And also on the right we can see a soldier checking the teeth of a male candidate who showed up to the exercise at Kibaki grounds in Lamu Island yesterday. Well, people have been asking, what has the dental formula got to do with you being in the military? Well, we're yet to know. But you can read all about that inside the Star on page 10. The drive is still going on. And we have Kalav, lawyer who risked all in defending Kamlesh Patni. Kalove or Kalav, whichever way that really floats your boat, how to pronounce it. You can follow the story on page 2 of the Star this morning. And jobless Naivasha man dies after setting himself ablaze. What a very sorry situation there on page 3 because of retrenchment, losing job there, his job, and he set himself ablaze. Well, these cases are now rising. This is another one after just recently we learned of another young man also set himself ablaze. Losses of 1997 El Nino and says lessons for today. And we have also the Auditor General raising queries regarding how the state is not really prepared on this, or they're not really keen on the warnings that are written on the world right now as far as floods and El Nino is concerned. But we can pick up lessons from 1997 situation, how it was devastatingly horrendous for most of Kenyans. That is a story that you want to follow inside the Star this morning. Boom for teachers as unions seal salary deal with their employer. That story continues on page 6 of the Star this morning, all about pay increase. The People Daily up next. Chilchi, we are probing what caused blackout. Still, they're probing it. And this is on page 3. Answers not yet forthcoming, according to what we can read here. And teachers TSC strike a pay deal. That is a splash. New salary to be backdated. Employer says enhanced pay to be factored in August pay slips after long talks that saw unions accept 9.5% raise. And this story continues on page 4. We have the TSC boss, Nancy Mashari, saying, as a result of these bipartisan engagements, the Commission has concluded the promotion of 14,738 teachers and has advertised additional 275,000 vacancies for promotion. And the recruitment of soldiers kicks off countrywide. You can read all about that. That particular pictures. It talks a lot about how the recruitment is ongoing. Young men there who are seeking to be joining the military. All that tucked away on page 6 of the People Daily this morning. And Ruto warning on revival of Mumias Sugar. President says all court cases touching on struggling miller should be withdrawn to pave way for its revival, even as he promises raft of goodies during his tour of Western Kenya. You have this story on page 2 of the People Daily this morning. This is how it looks. You can grab a copy if it floats your boat. And reggae yanukia. Harakati za wajuzi wa sheria kutaka mageuzi ya katiba na agenda za mazungumzo zaelekea kwenye kura ya maamuzi. It's all about referendum and the constitution. That is us looking back 13 years since we promulgated the constitution. Probing questions has been hanging on the rafters of many Kenyans' mind. Is this a constitutional moment? So far we've seen how it has fared. Are there kinks that needs to be, of course, smoothed? As far as the constitution is concerned, we shall be joined by also legislators who are lawyers as well and tease out this particular scenario that we are in. Baadhi ya agenda za mazungumzo ya mapatano zikipitishwa zitahitaji marekebisho ya katiba sawa na BBI, which was the reggae then, iliyozimwa. That was zimwa in 2021. You can follow the story inside the Taifa Leo this morning. And this is some of the eminent Kenyans who have been pushing for this particular constitutional moment. PLO aongoza kundi la wataalamu wa sheria na katiba kuanzisha harakati ya kurekebisha katiba, huku wanasiasa wakiashiria kukabiliana naye. You can follow the story there, and of course the two faces, two figureheads that are leading this bipartisan talks, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, led by Kalonzo Musyoka from Azimio and Kimani Ichung'wah from Kenya Kwanza. All that tucked away on page 2 of Taifa Leo this morning. Pigo kwa wasichana usajili KDF. That was happening in Lamu, where they were decrying how they were turned away by the KDF. And we have also the story of teachers as well, tucked away on page 2 of Taifa Leo this morning. Backing down to business. How China firm shortchanged taxpayers on 21.5 billion shillings city road. That is what is hogging the front page of the Business Daily this morning. Audit reveals Chinese contractor dropped 6 intercharges, built junctions inferior to approved intersections in initial designs. And you can follow the story on page 2 of the Business Daily. The Chinese contractor who built the 21.5 billion shillings Nairobi Western bypass omitted 6 interchanges and other critical infrastructure that are approved excuse me, in initial road design, denying taxpayers value for money. The Auditor General has said. Auditor General Nancy Gathungu said that when the contractor China Road and Bridge Corporation bid and won the tender for the construction of the project at the total cost of $71 million, the project had at least 6 interchanges at major shopping centers along the highway. And you can read the rest of the details inside the Business Daily. Twiga Tycoon Jonjo transfer Ruto's 20,000-acre deal to private company. And you can read all about that inside the Business Daily on page 2 this morning. Looking at the ticker, Chichir makes U-turn on inflated oil cargo. The state has made a U-turn regarding the controversial pricing of a diesel cargo that has allowed Oryx Energies to make an extra 1.7 billion shillings through inflated prices, a decision that had split the oil marketers. And of course, this is in regard to the expose that was done also by the dailies there. And this is informing also this particular U-turn as well. Sacco savers with more than 1 million shillings grows fastest to 92,000. High earnings Kenyans scouting for better returns on saving pushed accounts with more than 1 million shillings in savings and credit cooperative societies to grow at the fastest pace in 5 years to hit 92,000. Also, businesses top 6.2 billion shillings for lease loans in 2 months. That's another story that you want to follow inside the Business Daily this morning. Let's see what is happening in Uganda. Why Museveni pardoned Luamafa and 199 others. That is the splash there. And you can read all about that inside the Daily Monitor if you're waking up in Uganda this morning. Government sends mixed signals on COVID testing. Face mask rules. That is another story there. Government send mixed signals on COVID testing face mask rules. That is the splash of the front page of the Daily Monitor if you're waking up in Uganda. And also you have your rainbow there. Lohana Academy shines at MDD. Read all about it inside the Daily Monitor. Let your husband be, First Lady tells women. Let your husband be, First Lady tells women there. A good advice there from, according to them, from the First Lady of Uganda. And the Citizen in Tanzania, resolve investment rounds out of court. This is what TLS president is being told. Tanzania can avoid paying heavy penalties in disputes taken before international tribunal by engaging aggrieved parties out of court, according to Tanzania Law Society head, that is Harold Sungusia. You can read all about it inside the Citizen there. And Samia appoints new intelligence chief. Find out who this is, tucked away on page 3 of the Citizen this morning. What Stamiko is doing to assist artisanal miners also is another story inside the Citizen today. Katiba, 3-year public awareness drive on the cards. 3-year public awareness drive on the cards. Also, the national statutory, that's a national strategy for public education on constitution, is expected to run from 2023 to 2026. It's all about also a constitutional moment there in Tanzania. Read all about it also inside the Citizen. Fishing communities feel the heat of climate change. And this is how also we can see the beaches and the shorelines, they are drying up as the waters are receding. And also fish, the numbers also seem to be dwindling. That is what is happening inside the Citizen this morning. You can read all about it. I'll show you what we have on the front page of the New Times. Also, what we have on the front page of the Time magazine, the Newsweek as well, and other international publications, just to make sure that you are up to date as far as also the global current affairs is concerned. But these are our local dailies. Make sure you grab a copy to get all the wiser as far as the current situation is concerned. And we are celebrating our athletes back to school as well. Parents now are taking their children to school this morning, having breakfast this morning. We wish them a good new term, the last term of this year's school calendar. But still on that as well, it's a happy moment for teachers, where the teachers' unions and the Teachers Service Commission have signed a collective bargaining agreement that will see teachers get a pay rise of between 4,164 and 5,141 shillings, payable in 2 financial years. Other benefits for teachers in the deal include an increase in house allowance, although the deal is not different from what the unions rejected last week. It has emerged that the president's intervention and other issues such as per diem for teachers, which will be discussed by a technical committee to be formed. These issues are said to have made the unions, and specifically KUPPET, soften their stance. But as Shadrach Miti reports, teachers could have very little to smile about given how little the pay rise is compared to enhanced tax regime and statutory deductions.
2 years after unions signed an unmonetary collective bargaining agreement with the Teachers Service Commission, on Monday a new CBA was signed, albeit with minimal monetary gains.
In the agreement, teachers have secured 1. An increase in basic salary of up to 9.5%. And when we say 9.5%, it's because we calculated the average.
It is very famous outside here that we signed a cashless CBA. I'm also referred to as a maternity CBA. Today is different because some monetary component has been witnessed and confirmed in what we have signed today.
The addendum carries 2 financial benefits: a basic salary review of up to 9.5% for the lowest paid teacher.
The signed CBA will see teachers serving at grade C2, which is the entry level for graduate teachers, get a pay rise of 4,164 shillings. Those at grade C3, 5,141, and D5, 4,883 shillings. Interestingly, this is the same offer that Kuppet rejected last week when it was presented to them by the Teacher Service Commission. However, we have established that an undertaking to have a technical team look at the salary issues for teachers serving at grade D5 who are serving as classroom teachers made Kuppet soften their stance.
The new salary structure shall be implemented immediately in the August payroll and arrears backdated to 1st July 2023. We assure our teachers that they will get their pay by the end of this month.
Kenya National Union of Teachers have always demanded a 60% increase of salaries across the board. I want to proudly say here today that we have already secured 10%. I want to tell Teacher Service Commission that we are coming for the next 50%.
Over and above the salary reviews, Kuppet has secured the promotion of nearly 50,000 teachers this financial year. This is monumental because it has never happened before.
This then should give us more energy to now look for what we had asked for, which was 30 to 70%. And as we ask for that 70%, we at least have something in the pocket with teachers to cushion them.
It is also emerging that intervention by the president and detailed discussions between the unions and the TSC over per diem payment for teachers participating in extracurricular activities such as sports influenced Kuppet to sign the CBA. Although the matter is not yet concluded, it was agreed that a technical committee seizes of the matter with a view to reverting the issue of per diem back to TSC and not the Minister of Education, as is the case. The unions argued that since the TSC is responsible for teachers' payroll, it was only proper that the issue of per diem be managed by it and not the Minister of Education.
We have secured to the bare minimum in the addendum the 7 to 10% which Salaries and Remuneration Commission had already given as an advisory and what the president had committed to give the teachers.
On house allowance, teachers working in rural areas placed under Cluster 4 were the greatest beneficiaries after Teacher Service Commission agreed to harmonize their allowances with those working in other municipalities classified as Cluster 3. However, the unions did not approve of the Commission's decision to cluster Nairobi alone and not alongside Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Nyeri and Thika. The unions argue the deal will go a long way in cushioning teachers against the high cost of living, inflation and the recently introduced tax regimes. However, a closer look at the figures revealed very little pay rise against a heavy tax regime and enhanced statutory deductions, which leaves teachers with very little to smile about. Shadrach Miti, KTN News.
Now, the nationwide recruitment for members of the Kenya Defence Forces kicked off on Monday across the country amid warnings against graft in the exercise. Kenya Defence Forces Chief Recruitment Officer, Brigadier Matthew Lena Monaya, has assured members of the public that the exercise will be fair and transparent. To curb cases of corruption, the Ministry of Defence says it has partnered with various stakeholders, including the National Police Service, for action amid reports of cons demanding up to 400,000 shillings for calling letters. KDF has warned that anyone who will be found bribing for recruitment will face the law. William Sigi has more.
On Monday, August 28th, the nationwide recruitment for members of the Kenya Defence Forces kicked off across the country. This coming as KDF officials assured members of the public that the recruitment exercise will be fair and transparent.
The Ministry of Defence is committed to deliver a transparent and accountable exercise. In this regard, any person purporting to have influence to recruit a potential candidate outside of the designated recruitment centers or mechanisms stated in this briefing must be avoided.
Kenya Defence Forces Chief Recruitment Officer Brigadier Matthew Lenamunai outlining measures in place to ensure no graft takes place for one to secure a spot in the army, even as several agencies including the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, human rights agencies and the police will monitor the exercise. Lenamunai warning that the Ministry of Defence is committed to delivering transparent and accountable exercise, and any person purporting to have influence to recruit a potential candidate outside of the designated recruitment centers must be avoided.
Members of the public are advised to desist from fraud since it violates KDF values, more so the value of integrity. In support of this, oversight measures have been put in place encompassing use of intelligence operatives, anti-corruption officers, and the media.
Data shows that since 2017, KDF have only managed to take 80 cases to court over fraud, out of which 56 cases are being finalized.
And from our own side, we've had 56 cases being finalized and or judgment given, or the outcomes being given. Others are still ongoing because you remember, or you call this a very complex area. It's a crime, and crime takes a lot of time to dispense.
In Lamu, only 200 youth turned up for the exercise.
Common disqualification hapa nimeona ni kuwa tulipata wale watu wamekuja na alama zile hazijafikisha ile ya D, na pia kuna wengi wao wamekuja wakiwa wamepitisha ile miaka.
Successful candidates at each recruitment center will be notified immediately and issued with a calling letter, which, among others, informs the date and place where the candidate shall report for further processing. The 2023 KDF recruitment process is scheduled to end on 8th September 2023. Willie Lusige, KTN News, Nairobi.
And it's in Uasin Gishu County calling on investigative agencies to probe First Choice Recruitment Agency, a company that allegedly duped hundreds of residents after promising to help them secure employment abroad. The group held peaceful demonstrations in Eldoret town on Monday, asking President William Ruto to intervene and push the agency's director, Judy Cherichero, to refund their money. This comes weeks after the public outcry by students who had been promised overseas scholarships by the county government. Also, they asked for a refund after the program failed. Winfrey Owino reports.
Sections of Eldoret town were brought to a standstill by angry youth who took to the streets to air their grievances. Peaceful as they were, the demonstration still attracted police presence. They claimed they were duped by First Choice Recruitment Agency, therefore demand a refund of the millions spent to pursue the venture, which has now turned into a scam.
We used to pay 40,000. Na nililipia my daughter. At the moment nililipa pesa, nikaambiwa you wait, na ili backfire. So to me, I need my money. The daughter is mine, my firstborn. I should not fear to say.
Those affected by the project say they were asked to pay about 50,000 shillings to secure jobs in Qatar during the 2022 World Cup.
Mimi nililipia watoto wawili wavulana, firstborn na secondborn. Niliuza shamba, nikauza kishagi, nikauza ng'ombe. Judith alitudanganya. Kwa saizi kijana wangu alitoweka, hata sijui alienda wapi. Alikuwa anataka kujinyonga. Lakini my message goes to the president. This is your county. Sisi ni watu wako. Kalia ibarbororie. Kwa nini president unanyamaza?
Nililipa 50,000, ilikuwa ni travel niende Qatar, na niliuza kipande cha ardhi huko nyumbani kwa ajili ya hii shughuli. Lakini sasa kulingana na venye mambo ilienda, Madam Judy ni kama alikula pesa yetu.
Months later, neither the plan has materialized nor a refund made. In fact, they claim the office is still running, although relocated, and that the phone they initially used to communicate with the office has been switched off.
Nea na CS Labor anasema Judith aliapply kurecruit watu waende Qatar, lakini alikatashwa. But she went ahead to recruit those people. Which means hii process ya kwenda Qatar haikuweko. It was a lie. Ilikuwa ndio jaro ya kukulia pesa. So we are calling out on the DCI na relevant authorities watuambie who is behind Judith. We believe there is somebody behind Judith.
From the victims' outcry, questions of how the agency was and still is in operation despite not being registered with the National Employment Authority arise.
Why is it that our justice has been delayed? Yet we have recorded more than 300 statements and 300 OBs, and Judith has not been arrested. Ingekuwa ni mwananchi wa kawaida hapa ameiba kuku ama ameiba kitu yote angekamatwa. So what we are saying is that if Judy is really untouchable, we should be aware so that maybe we cannot fight a losing battle.
Judy Chepchirchir is the director of the company. She was recently summoned to appear before Senate's Labor and Social Welfare Committee, but reportedly snubbed the summons thrice. Days ago, the committee was in Eldoret listening to the plight of the victims. First Choice saga comes weeks after students who had also planned to study abroad raised similar issues with Uasin Gishu County government after they were promised scholarships to further their education abroad. But this did not happen either. Winfrey Owino, KTN News.
All right, and keeping our eyes peeled on the president's tour in Western, he has underscored that there must be a management overhaul for the sugar millers before injecting in funds to kickstart operations. Speaking in Nzoia, Bungoma County, the head of state said it is inconceivable how private millers were up and running, yet state-owned millers are limping despite their debts being written off by the government. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who was accompanying the president, however, called for diversification for farmers, as Alan Ochanda reports.
President William Ruto continued with his tour of the Western region, painting hope to Ken farmers within Nzoia catchment in Bungoma County. The head of state first citing the diagnosis of the paralysis of the Ken miller as poor management which must first be overhauled before injecting any funds to revive it, as farmers, despite being the miller's main Ken suppliers, have been going home dry.
Management lazima tubadilishe. Management lazima tubadilishe. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Lazima tubadilishe kwa sababu hakuna vile serikali inaweza kuendesha hii kampuni jameni. Sisi tumejaribu lakini imeshindikana. Miwa ya wananchi inaletwa hapa, inasagwa. Mwananchi mwenyewe mkulima hajalipwa. Mfanyikazi hajalipwa. Sukari imeuzwa. Sasa mnaona hiyo plan iko kombo.
Hata mwenye elimu kidogo anajua kitu inaitwa DR. Ati nilipeleka miwa nimepata DR. Debit. Yaani umelima, umelinda, umevuna, umepeleka, unadaiwa. Hiyo ndio ugonjwa tumekuwa nayo hapa.
Cumulatively, the 5 sugar millers in the region owe the state 117 billion shillings, with Nzoia alone owing the state 53 billion shillings. The president saying Ken development must be given priority, wondering how private-owned millers were on their feet, yet state-owned were limping, even as Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi urged farmers to diversify.
Kampuni ya West Kenya iko hapa, haina madeni, inalipa wakulima. Kampuni ile ya Kibos inalipa wakulima. Kampuni ya Butali inalipa wakulima. Kwa hivyo miwa haina makosa. Kuna makosa kwa management. Si ndio? Kwa sababu kama kampuni ya private inafanya kazi, mbona kampuni ya serikali iko na kisirani?
Sisi kama county government tuna rates ambayo pia Nzoia ilikuwa tunaidai. Tumekaa na cabinet, hata sisi tunaenda na county assembly, tutapeleka county assembly, we write off those rates ambayo ilikuwa inatakikana. Pia tusaidie Nzoia hii na kusaidiana na wewe kuirudisha mahali ilikuwa.
Lakini pia tufanye kile wanasema diversification. Kwa kifupi, tusiweke mayai yetu yote ya uchumi kwa kikapu kimoja. Tunaelewana? Rigiji yuko hapa, wamepambana na kahawa, wanapambana na majani chai, lakini pia kwa taifa ama Mlima Kenya wameingia kwa mambo ya kuangalia avocado.
Ruto further putting on notice persons meddling in the revival journey of the sugar industry. Earlier, the head of state visited Mount Elgon Kopsiro area, where he warned the communities in the area against the backward culture of female genital mutilation and destruction of the forests.
Na maneno ya kupasha tohara wasichana ikome. Hiyo maneno haiwezi kuendelea tena. Nimesema wasichana wetu wa Mount Elgon, ile maneno ya zamani ya kutairisha wasichana tuwachane naye. Hawa wasichana ni wakwenda shule. Ninyi mnanielewa? Na wewe ukiendelea na hiyo biashara, angalia mimi kwa macho. Mimi nitakutana na wewe.
The president will chair a cabinet meeting at the Kakamega State Lodge before heading to a development tour of Vihiga County Tuesday. Alan Ochanda, KTN News.
And away from that, the abduction of Jaswant Singh Rai, a prominent businessman in the sugar industry, has been a hot topic since his abduction on Friday. He was finally released on Sunday, I should say, after the mystery behind his ordeal remains unresolved. Who kidnapped him and why? Those are the probing questions. How did he manage to escape unharmed? What does the president have to say about the Rai saga and the sugar crisis in Western Kenya? Our very own Od Francis has the details.
KTN News broadcasted the details of the kidnapping of Jaswant Singh Rai, who was released by his captors on Sunday night. However, the mystery surrounding this incident is still a live topic among Kenyans. It is now clear that the Rai matter is a sensitive issue that no one we asked wanted to talk, comment, or utter anything about. We tried to speak to the family through their lawyers, but our efforts were unsuccessful. Our attempts to obtain footage from buildings with CCTV cameras that captured the events of the kidnapping on the front side were futile. KTN, through its close sources, has learned that after Rai was kidnapped, he was taken to a place 1 kilometer away from where he was abducted. The family refused to disclose the exact location. We returned to Kilimani police station to confirm if Rai's car had been taken, but the car was still parked at the station. A red alert was placed against Rai by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations (DCI), but lifted it later. Usually, this order or notice is placed on people suspected to be criminals. It still remains a puzzle that all authorities that should speak about such a matter are silent, and it is only the president who is speaking about it in his tour of the Western Kenya region that is the backbone of the sugar industry.
Hakuna kesi tuta entertain hapo. Kesi watoe na wao wenyewe watoke. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Tunaelewana? Na nimewaambia mambo ni mangapi? Matatu. Wakitaka kuniletea kisirani, either wahame Kenya, ama nitawaweka jela, ama wasafiri waende mbinguni.
The president's statement in Western is surrounded by controversy on actions to be taken if those involved in the sugar sector do not abide by the rules. As Rai's conversation continues, another twist of events. Yogesh Patni, the executive director of Victoria Bank Limited, was also picked by DCI officers at around 11 a.m. Monday morning and taken to DCI headquarters 13 hours after Rai was released. Yogesh Patni was still detained at the DCI headquarters for grilling by 9 p.m. Monday. On June 12, 2023, Yogesh Patni was summoned to appear before investigators at DCI headquarters to answer charges related to defraud.
One would ask, why did the police station where the incident was reported under OB number 21 of 2023 of a missing person with a vehicle under OB number of 40 2023 failed to update Kenyans on the release of Rai or any suspected arrests? Questions Kenyans are left with are: who kidnapped or abducted Jaswant Rai? Who gave the orders to the abductors? After Rai was released, where was he detained before his release? And why are Rai's family, Rai's lawyers, as well as officials in government not speaking or providing information about the incident? Ode Francis, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right. This is the editorial cartoon today. Back to life, back to reality for students there who are heading back to school. School fees and parents as well. And you can see the parents are really getting tightened there in the G clump. As far as the school fees is concerned, this is what Stano has drawn for us today. And we want to wish our students, our pupils who are heading back to school for the third term, the shortest term ever, of course, in the school calendar, all the best. But in the reality of the cost of living as well, we have to grapple with this, the cost of living, and that is bound to affect also the outcome in the school calendar as well. Interesting one as well that has, let me just try and scroll over there where we have our shining stars. Our shining stars in the midst of darkness. And we can see Kenya's Cape Yegon there, amongst others who now are jetting back into the country. A celebratory mood yesterday that we had at the JKIA. And we have also Sports PS Peter Tum saying government to announce new reward scheme for the athletes, medalists to earn improved bonuses. Team Kenya jets back from Budapest, world champions to triumph reception, welcomed by the PS Tum, Ismail and Bashir at the JKIA. They've done us proud, at least amidst the darkness that we were subjected in. And this is what I think Ozona has tried to really decipher or capture for us. If you may decipher that for yourself. I don't know where Dan Mazo was on Saturday, or also Danson Mungatana as well. The country was subjected into a blackout, but still we had shining light coming from Budapest, making us proud. Where were you, Dan Mazo?
Well, I was in Makueni.
You were in Makueni?
Yes, I had attended quite a number of functions in the county. And to my surprise, in the evening, there was power blackout, which...
That was on Friday now?
Yes, which took 2 days. Actually, power was restored back to some parts of Makueni on Sunday evening and Monday. So it's, you know, after the blackout, it's not every other place got power the next day. And it was shocking because this went into every part of the country. You know, I thought it was just Makueni, only to telephone and to find out that it was many parts of the country. What had been rumored then was that a monkey was said switched off.
Monkeys were hanging on the line.
The line somewhere. So I thought the worst of it was what happened with the airport. Even if there is power failure, you know, we should have enough solar, enough diesel powered, you know, emergency, especially for the airports. There's no way power will go off at the airports. You know, that must be a negligence of the highest order. That you know, immediately power goes off, machines should kick in, and the landing planes should already find, you know, the runway is lit. So I thought it is very, very important that at least, you know, necessities like the airport, there must be a lot of cushion. So I was surprised that 1 year with the new government in power, I mean, all these engineers and all these serious people, no one was thinking of an emergency like that and what happens in the airports. It means then you are likely to delay flights, you are going to inconvenience a lot of people. A lot of people got you know, the fridges, the food in the fridges stored there, spoiled, and it's a serious loss. Worse loss than Mandamano, if I may put it. Yes.
That's where were you?
I was in the village. You know, as usual, the normal activities, and then we were having the kids also over for the brief holidays because of the short school holidays. And you know how our children are nowadays. They are so dependent on electronics and whatnot, even in the villages. So when the power went off, everyone was, what is happening? Then we came to learn it's the entire country. But I think that the responsibility really should have laid on the minister himself. In more developed democracies, like Japan, when the trains fail to take off on time, the ministers take responsibility and they leave cabinet, So we need to develop our kind of leadership to that level where people take responsibility for things happening under their dockets. And I think it is not enough that one or two people who, to me, are smaller people, are asked to leave their offices. The big guys are still there and shifting blame to the smaller people. I think we need to be tougher than that. And my expectation is that the various energy committees in the Senate, in the National Assembly, will have a time with these ministers to explain what is happening in the country. So sending away one manager in JKIA is not enough. I think more action needs to be taken. Country needs to be taken seriously. Kenyans need to be taken more seriously than this. And I know people travel, but you can imagine those who are coming from India or Far East or even across the Atlantic, and you've done 18 hours or so many, 23 hours, and then you are reaching home, you are so happy, and then you are told, no, you can't land. Go to Uganda or go to Eldoret. You know,
you can see the runway,
it is just so bad. I think that is unacceptable. And something needs to be done.
Isn't it also consternating that when you read the dailies today, when you pick up the People Daily, you see the Churchill is saying we're still probing what caused the blackout. We're still probing it until right now, since Friday, and today is Tuesday. So we don't have any solid answers on what really caused the blackout.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to tighten loose the noose around responsibility, taking of responsibility by those who are given responsibility in government. If you accept to run the Ministry of Sports, take responsibility for what is happening. If you take the position of energy, of roads, or take responsibility. It is not enough from where I sit for the cabinet secretary to say that they're investigating how. How? It's not enough.
It's not enough.
For me, I think Churchill and Murkomen should resign. There is no way you will risk the lives of so many people and still stay in office. Together even with the people in those respective parastatals, you know all the chairs of those parastatals relating to energy and the CEOs and even the management of the airports. You know the frustration of flying all the way, and especially when the lights just go off, when the plane is on downtrend. You see when planes are on landing gear, they don't peak. They must land. So it risks, big time lives, and safety and security is one of the biggest issues. And one of the things which should be at the back of every manager of the airport should be lives, and there should be lighting system. As soon as electricity goes off, there must be diesel engines, running immediately to make sure that there is lighting. So flights which do long flights, the 16 hours from New York, it means you already run out of fuel. You are exhausted on fuel. Now, when the whole country is off, it means you have to go to Uganda. And if with that diversion, then how do you expect so many planes to land in another country? And then you land those people there and keep them there for how long? And then also, this is international trade. You know, you are these international companies are coming here. They are on schedule. They are supposed to fly other people back who should be connecting. So the inconvenience cost worldwide is so huge that you cannot begin giving excuses. I mean, all the engineers should be running, and the Kenya Power and the whole system of managing energy in the country has been so ridiculous. There have been, you know, such jokers. It's been common, you know, blackouts are so common in the country, and yet they take it as a normal thing. Hotels have lost, you know, food storage. There are people likely to get sick after taking food which has been stored there. You know, that damage is so huge, someone must take responsibility. There should even be a mass suit on the loss caused that day, whoever went through a loss. It's a high time now. People managing power and energy in this country took Kenyans very serious and took Kenyan business people serious, and especially when such negligence is as a high likelihood of causing death. So in my own opinion, Churchill and Murkomen should have resigned by now.
All right. Okay, we need now to just take a short break right now. As we take that short break, of course, we shall circle back with the soapbox just to get the political tone and tenor of what is currently happening. The two senators today are going for a special sitting, isn't it? Yeah, they've been recalled by the Speaker of the Senate for a special sitting. It's all about the bipartisan talks that has to be predicated on law, and that's why the session is on today. We shall be discussing that on the other side of the panel. Farah Maalim has not checked in yet. The other side of the break, I can see Farah Maalim has not checked in. I think he slept through the alarm. Owen Baya also has just sent his apologies, can't make it as well this morning. He has he's feeling off. He's feeling rough because of what he took yesterday. So he cannot really make it this morning, but we wish him well. Right? Don't go away. You're watching